Dependencies in Microsoft Project 2013. We're going to look at the different ways that we can set up the dependencies between tasks in Microsoft Project. For this demonstration, I've opened up a blank project. I've set all tasks to be automatically scheduled, and I've created a list of tasks. I've called them task 1 through task 12. Perhaps the simplest way of linking lots of sequential tasks is to select them all. I'm selecting downwards from task 1 to task 12, and then use the link the selected tasks icon on the task tab of the ribbon. And we can see then that when task 1 finishes, task 2 can start. When task 2 finishes, we're waiting for the weekend to go over before we do tasks 3 all the way through to task 12. The tasks are still selected, and I'm going to demonstrate that the next icon is Unlink Tasks and done what we're doing. Now, what's going to happen if I select my tasks 12 through to task 1? I'm going to click Link Tasks, and they're still connected from 1 to 2 to 3. I'm just going to unlink those tasks. Using the Control key, I can sequentially link tasks that aren't next to each other. For instance, I can select task 1, press and hold the Control key. I'm now clicking on task 6, and with the Control key still down, I'm clicking on task 12. I've released the Control key, and I'm going to click on Link Tasks. And now task 1, when it finishes, task 6 starts, and when task 6 finishes, task 12 starts. Let me just undo that or unlink those tasks, because I'm now going to select task 12, press and hold the Control key, task 6, keeping the Control key pressed, task 1. When I link the tasks, which way are they going to be linked? And it's in the order that I selected them. So you must be careful of the order that you select the tasks. I'm going to unlink the tasks, and I'm going to just link up 1 to 3 and 4 to 6. And I'm now going to show a second way of linking tasks, and that is by showing you the Predecessors column. Task 1 is linked to 2 is linked to 3, so the predecessor of 2, task 1, the predecessor of task 3 is 2. But if you look at this more carefully, you'll see that it's the ID number 2. It doesn't say task 2 is the predecessor, it says ID 2. Now this is a useful way if you know what the predecessor is called. For instance, task 8, its predecessor ID 7, and task 9, its predecessor is going to be ID 8. Another way of linking tasks is to put the cursor inside the Gantt bar. Now what we're looking for is this 4-arrowed cursor. Got to be very careful here, because if we put the cursor at the beginning of the Gantt bar, we get a %complete cursor. We put it at the ends, we're going to actually stretch the duration. So very carefully, we want that 4-arrowed cursor. I'm going to click and hold and drag it out, and I get a link symbol. If I let go, that's okay. Right, here we go again. Clicking and hold. I'm going to let go now. Task 10 is going to link to task 11. Put it into task 11. Press and hold. I'm going to link to task 12. Another way of linking tasks. A good way of linking tasks, though, is not using the Gantt bars or the Predecessors column or these linking icons, but to change the view to the network diagram view. I mean, after all, what you're doing here is you're sequencing the tasks into their correct order. Why not get the team to do this with yellow sticky notes on a board discussing what comes before what can be done concurrently, what's required to complete a task before the next one can start? You're getting the team involved in the project plan. So what we could do is we could say task 3, I'm going to press, hold, and I'm going to move my cursor out, and I get this link symbol again, is linked to task 4 and I let go. It's now, computer is now redrawn to move task 4 to the right of task 3. Now we've got to be really careful using this method, because if I put my cursor into 12 and I click and I pull out and I get a link symbol, if I let go, the computer actually creates a new task. Hasn't got a name, it's blank, but I've actually created this 13 task because I let go in the white space. And very quickly, if we keep doing this, very quickly, going back to the chart view, we can see I've got all of these unknown, unnamed tasks in my project plan. I'm going to right-click those, delete the tasks. Let's try and select them all at once. Right-click, delete the tasks. Going back to the view, the network diagram. Now this dotted line is indicating that that's an A4 sheet of paper, and if I zoom out we can see that I can't see many tasks on a sheet of paper. However, by right clicking I can actually collapse the boxes down to just their ID number. Okay, I have to know what the task name is. I can do that by hovering my cursor inside the task. ID 5 is task 5, but I can see lots more tasks on the screen at the same time. I'm going to zoom back in on this area. So for instance, I could say task 3 is linked to task 7, task 6 is linked to task 10, task 9 is linked to task 10. Interestingly, the computer is now trying to work out a critical path, which is why it's coloured these as red. Another problem with this method is the shape of the arrows. The arrows from 3 probably goes to task 4. I'm not quite sure though. It could be that it goes underneath task 4. So I'm going to right click on the white space again and have a look at the layout options. Now there are several layout options I like to choose here. First of all, I want to manually move these boxes around. I can't do that unless I tick this box, allow manual box positioning. Secondly, I much prefer straight lines to the rectilinear type. This means that the two tasks are connected with a straight line rather than going around any corners. Finally, you should never link the summary tasks. You should only put these links on at the lowest level. So I'm going to uncheck the show summary tasks option. I don't have any summary tasks in this project, so it won't make a difference. Now we can see the arrows are going directly between the tasks, and because I've allowed a manual box positioning, I can actually select all the tasks and very carefully, with a 4-arrowed cursor, I can now move these tasks around. Now I have to be careful, because if I accidentally put my cursor inside a task and drag out, I get this link symbol, which I can easily create a new task by mistake. So I'm going to very carefully go to the edge of these tasks, press my mouse button, and I can drag these down. This means that I can manually position individual tasks in my network diagram. I do have the facility of aligning tasks. If I select those tasks, I'm now going to right click to align the tops of these tasks, and now I'm going to just select task 5 and I'm going to try and move it backwards. My screen is playing around. Let me just zoom in. There we go. I'm going to select task 5 and then move it backwards. So this is a way of looking at the dependencies on the project. If you only want to discuss the dependencies, use a dependency chart. This in Microsoft Project is called a network diagram. Really, a network diagram would, let me collapse the boxes, A network diagram is all of the details of the start and the finish dates and the durations. We can see that because I've moved from this picture and now I'm showing all the information, I'm overlapping. What I can do is right click and say to the computer, layout now, and tidy this up, and the computer will do that for me. I need to zoom out so we can see everything. This is going to cover 3 pages of A4. I could manually select these tasks, drag them down here. I could manually select these tasks and drag them back over here. This would then print out on 1 sheet of A4 paper, but I might then say, well, okay, I'm not sure, let me lay that out now, and the computer will undo everything I've just done. So that's a good way of doing dependencies in Microsoft Project. I really prefer this method, layout now. I really prefer this method as the best way of putting in dependencies in Microsoft Project. And of course, any dependency that I put in here will be seen in the Gantt chart view. But very often, seeing the dependencies in the Gantt chart view does not show you the best view of those dependencies. It can be quite confusing, especially when you've got lots of tasks and they're overlapping.